Hola, hi, my name is Natalia and welcome to Bori Abroad. Welcome to Travel Tuesday. Today, I'm spilling some tea. What tea, might you ask? Today I'm going to be talking about what people don't tell you about living in New York City. Yes, it might be glamorous and there's so many things to do and this and that, and like New York lifestyle is something out of this world. But there are things that you never imagined happen while living in New York. Mostly things regarding like nasty stuff.
You're nasty.
So today we're gonna be talking about that. If you don't know me, I'm Natalia and I lived in New York City for 4 years doing my bachelor's degree. I'm not from New York, but I think I have a good sense of a lot of things New York has to offer because I did explore a lot in those 4 years that I lived there. Before getting into the video, don't forget to subscribe and follow Bori Abroad on all your favorite social media platforms. There are videos every Tuesday for travel and Saturdays for random things because we're stuck at home. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment down below if you live in New York City, if you've ever been to New York, or if it's on your bucket list for 2021 because we're all going to be traveling next year like crazy. So enough with the intro. Here are 5 things nobody tells you about living in New York City. Number 1, the subway system sucks. Yes, you see all these pictures of aesthetic models posing on the subway, on the platform, everywhere because the subway is something very iconic of New York City, but it is nasty. Regarding the subway, another thing is it runs 24/7, and while that might be cool, it means that there are a lot of delays because workers don't have a time during the night to actually fix and clean and things like that. So there are a lot of delays. There are lines that are closed for weeks, months. When the lines are closed, you have to take a bus, and the bus takes so long. When your subway line is closed for a certain period of time, it just ruins your day, maybe your week, maybe your month, depending on how long the subway track is closed. And you never know exactly because they might open it one weekend and then they're like, okay, we're working on it again. And if that is the closest station to you and that line is closed, you're gonna have a hell of a commute to work or wherever you're going. New York doesn't sleep, so the subway doesn't sleep either. Let's put it like that. Another thing is it gets so crowded because having a car in New York is extremely expensive, so everyone uses the subway. That 4 to 6 o'clock period during the weekdays is insane. Like, no one can fit in the subway. You're pushing. You have to get that New York attitude out because if not, no one's gonna let you in.
I'm walking here.
Let's move on to number 2. I talked about crowded subways. New York is crowded. Everything is always crowded. And when you want to have like a little fun date or a little fun activity or going to a museum or going to this or going to that, there is always so many people. There are millions and millions and millions of people living in the city, so obviously everything is gonna be crowded, like really crowded, and sometimes that's not what you want to go for. It can get annoying because one thing is visiting and just being in that crowdedness for a week or two, and another thing is being there 24/7 is very overwhelming. And I'm a social person, but sometimes like I just want to be alone at a cafe, like, and not have to wait for a table. I want to go out to dinner and not have to sit like 2 feet apart from a person. I sometimes want to go see an exhibit and I don't want to wait 2 hours in the line. Like, it's so crowded, and you might know this and you might be saying, it's so obvious that it's crowded, but crowdedness 24/7 ain't it. It really isn't. We're moving on to number 3. New York has so many things to do. Like, it's insane. One of the reasons why I love it so much, but a lot of these things are in the summertime. New York in the summertime smells like feet and dog feces and just moist swamp water. The movies don't tell you that about New York. The movies show you the glamour, the bougie, but it stinks. It really does stink. I did not know this about New York, and I did not expect it because no one talks about like how smelly New York is. And even though you can do movies at Bryant Park and rooftops, and if you want to know 10 non-cliche things to do in New York, you can check out my video. Once you're done with those activities, you have to walk in the nasty streets. Speaking of nasty, number 4, New York is nasty in the winter as well. There's always trash in New York, meaning there's always going to be a smell, but the snow mixed with the trash, girl. The snow mixed with the trash is one of the most disgusting things ever. Yes, in the movies, like Central Park is all white and pristine and beautiful, but that's not the case 5 minutes later. And I get that this happens everywhere it snows. I think New York City is even nastier because there's so much trash around, so many strange liquids that mix with the snow that it makes it unpleasant as well. Plus it's always crowded, like I mentioned before, and you're trying to like not touch the snow, but you end up touching it because people like keep bumping into you. And the worst part about the winter in New York is that the air that comes between the buildings is freezing. Like, it's not air that you like, okay, I have a nice breeze. Like, when you go in between buildings, it's freezing. It's freezing. It's freezing. The last thing people don't tell you about New York is how expensive it is. Yes, you might know New York is really expensive, but you don't notice how expensive it is until you compare it to another city or another place. Everything is triple the price. When you go out to eat, you can easily spend $100. Easy. When you go out, like with your friends, poof, I was scared to look at my bank account the next day. The museums that you want to go to, everything adds up because everything's like $40 this, $40 that, but then you have to pay an extra fee for this and an extra fee for that. Airbnbs are expensive, hotels are expensive, life in New York is expensive, and if you live in New York, don't even get me started on rent, because I have friends paying ridiculous amounts of money for a tiny ass apartment. And that's the price to pay when you're living in New York City. And obviously every borough is a little bit more expensive or less expensive. Manhattan, you're gonna need 6 figures to live in Manhattan in a nice apartment. So yeah, it's expensive as hell. So if you're trying to live your New York City life after this quarantine, be sure to have a lot of savings. That is it for this Travel Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It really made me think about all the like iffy things when it came to living in New York. But if you guys want to see a part 2 of all the positive things that nobody tells you about living in New York, give this video a like. Comment down below if you've ever lived in New York City, or if you visited, or if you want to visit. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow Bori Abroad on all your favorite social media platforms, and I will see you guys Saturday. Bye.